Hey, welcome to the TCO studios, and I'm Paul Allen, and welcome to the 2020 NFL Combine Special. Very happy to be joined by the Viking Entertainment Networks and former Vikings linebacker Ben Leber, where we just came back from the Indianapolis Scouting Combine, and as the NFL calendar goes, it's always a very speculation-filled and festive occasion.
It really is. You know what? We had a lot of fun there. It's the heavy hitters of the NFL and the young superstars of college football all under one roof. A lot of fun stories.
Ben Leber had the opportunity to run into some media superstars to get takes and or opinions on the Vikings and the draft and pick 25. And here it is.
Certainly a unique year, I think, for everybody. I mean, the number of scouts and coaches that I've spoken to over the past couple of days about how different this experience is just because the schedule is different. Players are here over 6 days. There's not a lot of player interviews, the formal interviews that you can get done.
Nothing is more important, other than the medical, than the actual face-to-face and getting to know somebody who is going to be part of the culture that you have in your locker room.
When you look at the tape, you look at guys, would I want to be in the huddle with that guy? Is it something that resonates in the way that he plays? Can I see the hustle? Can I see the effort? Can I see the production and the performance? Does he look like he's really all in?
Strong class at wide receiver. I like, people say it's a lousy year for tight ends. I think there's some tight ends in the second to fifth round who will play a long time in this league. I think there's some corners that will have a good opportunity. There's mixed opinion on these corners, but there's a lot of them. So you got to pick the right one.
I'm not so sure that you get to 25 and there's a corner that's near the top of your board, which, you know, could create an interesting decision for the Vikings.
I think the Vikings have plenty of opportunities in the third, fourth round, and even into the fifth, sixth round at wide receiver.
When you look later in the draft for quarterbacks, you're looking for scheme adaptability, because if the guy was transcendent, he wouldn't be available in the fourth round.
Offensive line would be where I'd want to go, because I do think that helps improve, obviously, the play of Kirk Cousins, knowing he's a pocket passer, but also the running game to help impact that and give him a little bit more help, too.
I think there's a lot to like about this team. I think they'll continue to fortify both sides of the line, offense, defense. I think that's going to be big for them. Try and develop maybe somebody else out on the perimeter, take some pressure off. But all in all, the opportunity is still there with this team.
I think this is a good football team that's still right there, but it's just they've got to find that element that can give them that consistency of week-to-week toughness.
They are moving in the right direction. Probably not as fast as everyone would like. Everyone wants to win the Super Bowl yesterday, not next year. But they have the pieces, and now you got to figure out what you're going to do with all your free agents on defense and then keep moving.
Great job as usual, Ben. Interesting takes from the well-respected Mel Kiper. And speaking of takes, how about some Indianapolis takeaways? Beginning with quarterback Joe Burrow, widely anticipated to be the first overall pick in the draft.
Yeah, and I was actually a little surprised by that. I thought we'd go into the Combine thinking Tua Tagovailoa was kind of right on his heels, but as we walked away, he was the clear-cut number one, record-setting season, championship season at LSU. And I tell you what, he answered every single question the way you're supposed to, handled the whole thing like a pro.
So what's part of his skill set that indicates to so many that not only will he succeed at the next level, but he'll be a star?
Well, I think the way you watch him play the game this last season, he can make every single throw highly accurate, and it was in an absolute magnifying fishbowl of pressure. And he handled all that pressure with grace and professionalism, and then he answered every question, and everybody that talked to him at the Combine said, this guy's the real deal. He gets it, he understands it, it's not too big for him. He's going to be a future star in this league.
9-inch hands, though, as you see there. What about the athleticism, comparatively speaking, and courtesy of Next Gen? Ben, how do you read into this?
Well, you know, he doesn't show up on this particular list here, and neither does Tua Tagovailoa. I think the one interesting one is Justin Herbert. He had a lot of questions to answer himself. Is he the type of leader that everybody thinks he can be? He's a little bit of a slow starter at Oregon, but he answered the bell at the Senior Bowl. He probably had the most pressure on him to perform this whole offseason, Senior Bowl into the Combine, and he passed with flying colors, and he has the athleticism. Jordan Love, you see right there, a combo between he and Justin Herbert, between who's the clear-cut number 3. He's rising up the boards as well.
Maybe Tua's looking to establish his high-end Next Gen at the next level. Very good player. Hey, from the glitzy quarterbacks, let's go to Collegeville, Minnesota. That won by St. Cloud. And an offensive lineman named Ben Barch. Ben, a lot of people were talking about the other Ben.
Yeah, that's right. And you know, a lot of people were talking about his kind of gross eating habits to gain some weight. You know, he came up with this thing of eggs and cottage cheese and all this other stuff. That was a fun little story that we learned from there. But as you can see, as you watch the film, a guy that played at a lower level of college football, but he's highly athletic and highly powerful. I like the fact that pass protecting, a technician. Watch his footwork. Watch the way he holds his hands up after the snap, and he's ready to punch on command. I think his run ability in the run game needs a little bit more consistency, but talking to some scouts there, they absolutely think that he can play in this league.
So Ben Barch, St. John's University, he goes from 250 to like 325, converts from tight end to offensive lineman with a signature egg, which are scrambled eggs, along with peanut butter and Gatorade and cottage cheese, and it worked for him. Now he's heading to the NFL. I just don't understand how you want to go from 250 to 325 and you're an offensive lineman, and it does not include pancakes.
Yeah, well,
like
right,
the art
exactly.
of the pancake block. You know what I mean?
And the thing is, everybody that had tried that shake actually walked away saying, hey, not so bad. A little warm because of the warm scrambled eggs, but not a bad thing. But this guy, he understands what it takes to get in this league. He's willing to do something like that. And from the football aspect, he plays with some nasty as well.
Now, when you're taking in this National Football League draft, do expect a bevy, probably more than a handful of wide receivers to be taken in the first round. For the most learned draft minds at Indianapolis at the Combine, we're calling this potentially the deepest wide receiver draft ever.
Not only the deepest ever and most talented, obviously, but there's 70 free agent NFL players that are available in free agency here in a couple weeks. So a very deep class in totality. You know, you're going to talk about Jerry Jeudy. You're going to talk about Henry Ruggs, who is an absolute speed demon wherever he is on the field. T. Higgins from Clemson. But the guy that I really like, Laviska Shenault, maybe not your true wide receiver, maybe a utility guy, a do-it-all type of player. Think Cordero Patterson, think Percy Harvin combo as far as size, speed, athleticism. There's a lot of guys, depending on what your needs and what your system is offensively, that you can pick in this draft, first, second, and potentially third round first-day starters.
So with that comparison, kind of a version of what San Francisco got in Deebo Samuel, except maybe a little bigger, right?
Yeah, Deebo's a little bit of a smaller guy, more quick than fast. Laviska's probably more fast than quick. But you watch his college tape at Colorado, nobody could tackle this guy and nobody could catch the guy either.
Now, also at the Indianapolis Combine, from a takeaway standpoint, the ever enjoyable business of the National Football League. It's the collective bargaining agreement and the talks and collaboration and everything. It was all over the place.
It really was. I was surprised when we started talking to all the experts, like, hey, wait, what's the talk of the Combine? They're like, it's business. It's the business of the NFL. The TV contracts want to get done by the ownership standpoint, and that has to start with the CBA being agreed upon, being ratified by the players. They're really, really close. We should have a ratified CBA here in the next week or two, voted on by the players. The 17-game season, that's going to be in. What are the concessions that the owners are going to give up? Are they going to give up more time in the offseason? Are they going to get another bye week? How does some of the money play out? But keep in mind, the players are going to make out with this with a 48% share of all revenue. That's everything that they can negotiate. And that 48% can go up to 48.5%, depending on some TV escalators that they could hit as well.
You know, and I would imagine, certainly not speaking for all head coaches in the NFL, but that 14-team playoff system, if I'm a head coach, I like that. It gives me a chip chair and a chance to get into the postseason, maybe do some damage. You know?
And you never know. And for guys like me and you, it's another game check there too. We'll have extra games
now,
potentially.
You get it, playoff checks? Okay, we can deal with that later. Hey, and finally, with the Minnesota Vikings and free agency and players that will be on the 2020 team, there was a lot of talk, and it was generated at a press conference by Vikings head coach Mike Zimmer involving Everson Griffin and the team's potential to retain the game-changing defensive end.
Yeah, and it was refreshing to hear him say that, because I think we all understood that he opted out of his contract because he hit some clauses in there with sacks and otherwise. But there is a desire to bring him back, and to me it makes a lot of sense, because you look at the guys on defense, a lot of superstars, a lot of high performers, but he's the engine that makes that defense go. If you need a stop on third down, you look to him. If you need the defense to get picked up and the team to get picked up energy-wise, he's the guy you look to. And really, Everson's got to be honest with himself. He's had some off-the-field issues, this is the spot that he's going to have the most support when it comes to helping him do things off the field the right way. I don't think he's going to get that support at any other team.